Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I want to start by actually echoing what Brandon said. It is weird having your bio read aloud to me, um, but I'm very grateful to be here and just really have a candid conversation about Break the Divide, the ways that it started, and kind of where it's going now. I think I've learned a lot through Break the Divide, like the other presenters, and I think a lot of this can be very valuable for you as you start and continue to implement your projects. So I just want to start by really talking about my relationship with nature. I was born in India, but I was only 11 months old when I moved to Canada. And I'm here in Surrey, BC, on the traditional territory of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish peoples. And growing up here in BC, I've been surrounded with beautiful nature all the time. And I really connected with this nature. In high school, I began giving presentations about climate change. I really loved public speaking more than anything else. And I had a lot of fun with it. So in 2016, I had the amazing opportunity to travel to the Canadian Arctic. This was through the Students on Ice Foundation, and I was 14 years old at the time, just as happy there, a little less facial hair. And I traveled to the Arctic, and we went up from Ottawa all the way up to Iqaluit. We sailed down Frobisher Bay, down the coastal Labrador, and all the way up to Greenland. It's an incredible 2 weeks, and I saw incredible things. I saw icebergs. I actually went swimming in the Arctic. As you can see here, I'm having a wonderful time in that freezing cold water. I went kayaking and paddleboarding, and all of these things just strengthened my connection with nature. I began to understand that the climate is changing, and I saw it in front of me. Again, beyond the animals that I saw and the beauty of the ice and the communities, I also learned a lot about the people that live in the Arctic. I became very good friends with my Inuit peers, whose communities have been living in the Arctic for tens of thousands of years. And they talked about how, despite being able to adapt to climatic changes over a long period of time, over the past 20 and 30 years, the Arctic has been warming at twice the rate of the rest of the world. And that got me thinking, again, I saw these beautiful animals and these amazing people around me, but I wondered, what could I do? So I remember this one moment at the Ilulissat Ice Fjord in Greenland. And this is a place where you can see ice stretched out for kilometers and kilometers, as far as your eye can see. And I remember being there with 200 people on this expedition from around the world, and we all went silent for a moment. We all went silent, and we could literally hear the icebergs melting. So it was a very bone-chilling moment for me. I felt inundated with feelings of hopelessness, like the problem is so bad that I can't possibly do anything. And at the same time, I felt like there's probably something that I can do. So I talked to my peers, and I realized that the reason that I now cared about climate change so much and wanted to do something was because I was personally connected to the issue. So I came back, I talked to my older brother. I think he was like 22 or 23 at that time, and he had just finished his undergrad, and we started talking, and we thought, what if we could connect students at my high school in Delta, BC, with students up in the Northwest Territories? And that's exactly what we did. So it was a very simple idea. We hopped on a Zoom call like this, way before Zoom calls were cool. And we did video calls between my school in Delta, a school in Inuvik in the Northwest Territories. And the goal was very simple. It was to have conversations and break down those barriers between us. And we called this project Break the Divide. So, Break the Divide, again, the purpose was really to initiate this dialogue so that we could better understand these very complicated issues like climate change from personal perspectives. And in that initial connection that we took between my high school in Delta and Inuvik, at first, we didn't really involve community stakeholders. And when I say that, I mean, I was so excited about the issue. I was so excited about the potential of connecting young people with each other that when my brother actually had the chance to go up to the Arctic and be a teacher there, we just started doing the video calls, but we didn't talk to community members about the idea first. We didn't talk to elders or students, and we kind of thought, okay, well, this is obviously going to be awesome. Let's get these connections going. But once we did, and when that happened, a lot of people just completely ignored the idea. They didn't understand it. No one really wanted to be involved. And the same thing happened at my high school. Like Brandon was talking about, being very independent when it comes to projects. I thought, like, I can manage the social media and take some photos and plan the projects, but without getting a full team and community of people involved at first, it was very hard to get community buy-in. And we realized that immediately once we did that, everyone started to get involved. Everyone loved the idea, and we really started to foster empathy. In these conversations, students at my high school learned about the impacts of melting permafrost in the Arctic, how pipes beneath the surface were actually breaking because of melting permafrost, how sea ice was melting and people weren't coming back. And no longer was climate change an abstract issue for so many students. And that was powerful to see. And in this process, we started posting on social media. We started talking about our work, a very simple project of connecting with people. And we didn't expect to have a global expansion. People throughout the world reached out to us on social media and said, hey, this is a super cool project. How can we get involved? And so we expanded to a school in Cape Town, South Africa, for example. And we started talking about climate change, but the topic really quickly shifted to talking about the political dimensions of inequality, for example. And they started a water crisis project in their local community. And that really goes to show the power of connection and using a project in a sustainable way and sharing it with as many people as you can. Really, what I want to leave you with is that to become a better change maker, start with empathy. Start by learning from other people and really working to understand the complexity of issues. I'm sure all the presenters here will say the same thing. You need to learn about the problem that you're trying to solve and work with people to create that change. And for me, public speaking has always been a major passion of mine. And I've always tried to use public speaking to elevate the message of empathy, about climate action, about mental health, reconciliation, like all these things for me come together. And in every presentation I do, I try to bring these things together so that we as a society can work to break these divisions between us. So really becoming a better change maker as you get your projects off the ground is about working with communities and being curious. I'm very excited to answer questions and for the panel discussion. Feel free to reach out and follow us on social media, and me too. But I'm very excited for all of this. This is an awesome event, and I hope you enjoyed this little blurb about Break the Divide and Me.